Welcome back. You're watching the Property Guide on Magicbricks Now. Thank you so much for staying with us. We're taking, like I told you, a very close look at all of the festive offers in the market right now. Two questions we're asking today. Is it time for you to go out and buy because of these festive offers? And what should you keep in mind to make sure that you're well looked after and your money is being protected? To answer those questions, Joaquim Reis, Senior Advocate, is going to help us with the legal angle. Jayashree Kurup, Head of Content and Research at Magicbricks.com, will help us with the property market. Adhil Shetty, CEO of BankBazaar.com, is going to help us with our home loans. If you have an opinion about anything you hear on this show, tweet it out, #RightTimeToBuy. Thank you, all of our panelists, for joining us right now. I want to, we've heard from the team about what these offers are. I want to understand from you what you're seeing on the ground. Are you seeing interest come back to this market? Do you think this is the right point of this market to go out and buy? And then we'll talk about what to keep in mind. Adhil, I want to start with you. You're looking at all of these home loans being processed, people moving loans from one bank to another. What's the most interesting thing you've noticed in terms of festive offers from lenders and from banks in this market?
So the festive offers from lenders and from banks fall into two categories. So one is where they look at a discount on the interest rate. So for example, I think the RBI has cut its basic lending rate by about 50 basis points. And we can expect that during the festive seasons, banks will offer until December 31st a slightly lowered rate on various loan products. The second manifestation is a zero processing fee. So typically when you're taking a home loan, your processing fee can be as high as 10,000 rupees, but up to December 31st, very often banks will say as a festive offer, there is a zero processing fee. So these are typical manifestations that we see from the lenders.
All right, so zero processing fee there and some sort of offers from banks as well. Jayashree, what are you noticing from builders in terms of the offers? When my team did a search on the ground, they noticed that it was not as extensive as what we saw last year. Is there some sort of confidence that's come back into this market that perhaps with just these values right now, they'll be able to bring back sales and they don't really need to offer the kitchens and the ACs and the televisions that they were handing out last year?
Say this year we aren't seeing so many of these consumer durables being offered as special teasers to bring the consumer back. There are two reasons for it. One, they figured out that just bringing those consumer durables is not going to sell in the market. And I think what has happened is that the consumer is extremely active and searching. I don't think this is the tipping point, an AC or a phone or something like that. So what they've actually done is they are trying to say that the property is close to getting complete. We'll deliver on time. The stuff that the consumer has articulated is important to them. Those are the kind of things that they're using to build consumer confidence. I don't think the deals are smaller, fewer, but I think if the consumer is looking for deals, go for the ones that matter.
But Jayashree, when you say go for the ones that matter, tell us what you're noticing, because we know there are a lot of things listed on the website as well, and you have regular conversations with builders. If you were to list out the deals that actually do matter, which ones would those be?
A free car park, that's a big one, because you are actually, there is a cash outflow from you to the builder for a car park. If there is a 50 rupees to 200 rupees per square foot discount that you're getting, go for it. That makes a lot of sense. Some developers we've seen in some markets giving modular kitchens. Now modular kitchens are useful to you because that takes away from how much you spend in the woodwork that you do after you take possession. Ask for an upgrade of the specifications in terms of the fixtures, the taps, the light fixtures and so on. Better quality, superior, branded, those kind of things make a lot of sense. Those are the ones that matter.
All right, those are the ones that matter. Quick recap for our audience. Jayashree said, take anything that offers, that reduces the cash outgo that's coming out of your pocket at the end of the day. So if you're getting a cash discount, you're getting free parking, you're getting, a kitchen or woodwork or better, fixtures in your home, that's the kind of offers you should be getting. Joaquim Reis, I'm going to come to you here on a legal angle. Now, it's obvious that the most widespread offer we're seeing in the market, and this is not specific to the festive season, is pay 10% now or 5% now and the rest on possession. There's a lot of that going around in the market. I know there's no standard contract for any of it. These are contracts that the builders draw up and offer to their customers. What are the risks when I take on a deal like that, and what do I need to keep in mind?
There are two things. I think, speaking about Mumbai, the industry is suffering for quite some time because there are very few takers as far as flats are concerned. So I think the builders are all out to see that they make a start and they sell their properties. Flats which are ready for sale is an easy affair because you pay the money and take the flats, try to get as much discounts as possible. Okay? But there are two factors which you must keep in mind. That in the month of December, the stamp duty is going to go up by 1%, and by end of December or early January, there's going to be a revision of the prices of flats in the ready reckoner. So surely the stamp duty will go higher. Therefore, whatever you want to do, do it as fast as possible. Once the agreement is signed, whether you pay 10% or 5%, you are bound by the agreement. Only thing, make sure that the agreement is registered, because if the agreement is not registered, you have problems.
All right. No, take us one step further. Now, there's a lot of debate also in what should be included in that agreement. Obviously, a date of possession. And when I say linked payments to construction, should it be linked to the particular date? Should it be linked to the actual possession, the act of possession? How should that contract ideally be drafted?
For a consumer, the importance is that he gets the flat when he's promised to be given the flat. So how to put some teeth in this clause? The only way is saying that if you don't give on such a certain date, you're losing what perhaps you could get as a living license fee if the flat was given to you. Therefore, put some sort of a clause of damages that in case it's not given by such date, that you are paid damages per month, so that the builder hurries up and gives the flat to the consumer.
All right, so include a specific possession date and damages or compensation in case of delay. Adhil Shetty, would you say, given what you're seeing right now in terms of interest rates coming down, in terms of what we should frankly call a bit of a rate war in the market at this point for credit growth among banks, that this is a good time for customers to go out and perhaps consider, buying a home or closing a deal?
I think that a majority of the loans in India are floating rate loans. So what happens is when the rates go down, the benefit is transmitted via the base rate, ideally to both new borrowers and old borrowers. And when the rate goes up, the EMI goes up too. I think if one has located their dream property, this is a good time. I think there are special offers out there. The rates are the lowest they've been in the last several years. And with the holiday season coming up, there'll be, additional sweeteners from the banks. So I think there's definitely availability of good, reasonable credit for anyone who's looking to buy a home.
Actually, so this is the interesting thing, and I'm going to go slightly off topic here because I believe our viewers should understand this. Adhil, you talked about the base rate. Now, the base rate makes sure that while interest rates come down, any sort of offer or any sort of lower rate that's being offered to a bigger customer also gets offered to me as a regular borrower. Now, while we talked a little bit about before the show about NBFCs coming in or housing finances companies coming in and doing a lot of lending right now, they don't necessarily all follow the base rate system, do they? It's a system that's limited to banks.
You're right. So banks follow the base rate system. NHBs and NBFCs follow the RPLR system. The RPLR system doesn't have to conform to the rate being the lowest rate at which new loans are issued. So you're right that these are two different regimes, one followed by the banks and one followed by the non-banking lenders.
Should I be in any way, should that influence my decision of which lender I want to go to? Should I opt for someone who's using the base rate system?
So I think that there are a lot of very large and very respected brands in NBFCs and in NHBs. I think I would just look at the track record of the lender and also make my decision based upon what the offer is. I think everyone's aware, and I think the old problem of a significant difference between new and old borrower more or less has lessened tremendously in the new base rate regime. And I think that all parties tend to gravitate to a model wherein benefits are passed to both new and old. So I would actually go by the brand and the track record of the lender.
All right, the brand and the track record of the lender. Jayashree, same question to you. If I'm opting for, to buy a home using a festive offer right now in this market, how do I choose a builder?
Say, very important, I'll go with what you've been hearing, go with the track record of the builder. The builder who has a track record of delivery, over the last 2 years, we've seen a lot of delays. In some markets, it's been 3 to 6 months. In some markets, it's been 6 to 8 months. There are certain markets where it's been in years. However, there are certain developers in every market who have been delivering more or less on time, little ahead of the rest of the market. Those are the ones who are trustworthy, reliable. Also go with developers who deliver what they've promised. If they promised a certain set of specifications and you tally what you've got and the specifications are exactly what has been promised to you, those are the developers you should go with, because then you don't have this problem of should I check everything.
All right, now I want to very quickly ask you, while both of those points are fair, that I need to make sure that I'm going with a builder who has a track record of delivering on time, maybe before time also who has a track record of delivering what he promised, how as a customer can I find that out?
Go to any previous development of that developer, and I keep saying this again and again, go check whether people staying in older developments by the same developer are happy staying there, which means that the what has been promised has been delivered more or less on time, and the developer is also taking care of the maintenance of the development. Because remember, once you've got the development and the developer, suppose he exits completely, what happens is that the rest of the property does not get maintained. So it's good to go to previous developments, check with other users, and then make your choice. And especially in today's market, that is very important.
All right, so while we do a lot of things online right now, there are some things that just cannot be substituted. You just have to go there physically, ring the bell, speak to a couple of people who live in a property that builder has actually made, and find out if he's delivered on time, if he's delivered what he's promised, and if that structure has held in the test of time. Joaquim Reis, tell me this, if I am buying right now, and you rightfully pointed out that at least in the city of Mumbai, we're looking at a hike in ready reckoner rate, we're looking at a hike in, in stamp duty. This is also true for the city of Bangalore, that's considering a stamp duty increase as well. Ideally, when I am going in to register, to sign a document, to sign any sort of document, what sort of legal assistance should I get on my own? As opposed to just trusting what the builder is giving me?
You know, there are two things. As far as the agreement is concerned, there are standard agreements under the Maharashtra Ownership Flats Act. So the builder can do very little about that. But these are the clauses, the special clauses, which the possession comes on a certain day, and if you don't give possession, you pay damages. These are clauses, if the builder agrees, are required in your favor. Another thing which you have to be very, very careful, I think the consumer must know how to read the sanction plans. I'll tell you on two fronts. One is, there are sometimes refuge floors every 7th floor, and rarely there are some developers who sell this refuge floor as a constructed area. So it's a duty of the consumer to see whether it's a refuge floor, whether what you're buying is a sanction plan, is it a sanction flat or not. The second thing which is unfortunate is, I came across a case a couple of weeks before in Kotachibadi in Girgaon, where the fire officers had given permission for a building to be constructed. And there was a PIL file in High Court saying that the road is too narrow for a fire engine to go inside the building. And the High Court said, in spite of the fact that it was approved, it says the road is narrow, you require a broader road, and that would have stopped the entire construction activity. So it calls upon us, even in sanction plans, to come and see whether things are in place. There could be a possibility of an injunction by the court not to construct, So these are things which have to be looked in spite of the plans being sanctioned and approved by the municipality.
All right, so one thing is to make sure that all the plans are sanctioned, and then to get legal assistance on actually making sure that there's no PIL filed in the court of any of the courts against that one particular building. We're going to come back after this break and find out how you can do that. Don't go anywhere. We're talking about using the festive season offers both from banks and builders and finding out if it's the right time to buy. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching the Property Guide on Magicbricks Now. Thank you for staying with us. We're focusing on the festive season and the offers in the market. Now, there are offers from builders, there are offers from banks. You can combine both of those, and we're trying to find out if this is the right time to buy, given everything that's available to you and me as customers. One, is it the right time to buy? Two, What should you keep in mind if you're going out to buy? Now, before we went into break, our advocate on the panel talked about the fact that not only do you have to be very careful about whether all of the permissions are through, you also have to be careful about the plan. Is the flat that you're buying in the refuge area? Is there a PIL right now on that particular building in one of the courts? How do you find out all of that? Adhil, we know that banks do very stringent background research into any building before clearing a loan. Can we use that as a shortcut to what Joaquim was telling us to do? Just making sure that all of the banks have given pre-loan clearances to a building, is that enough?
Right, so like you rightly pointed out, before a bank sanctions a loan, they do their checks on the title deeds, they do their legal verification on the licenses, on the approvals. So I think it becomes a good basic check to make sure that everything is in order. But I think that one should also have a lawyer look at it in addition to the support provided by the bank. So a bank does a lot of the work, but just for your specific case, it's always better to get a legal expert to also look into it.
So in terms of just finding out if there is a PIL, if there's a stoppage of work in one of the courts, if there's an order that's been been passed against this particular building, that's not something that the bank's background check would cover, would it? Okay. All right. Jayashree, I want to very quickly come to you too also about the same topic. If I'm doing a background check on the legality of it, what would you advise customers to do?
See, one thing we say that even if you don't need a loan, go to the bank and take a small loan, because the bank's due diligence helps you. Because once the bank does its due diligence, at least it is a bankable property. The bank can sanction a loan against that property. The second thing is that if the ticket size is very high, we do recommend that you go to a legal entity and get the papers verified. Once get the papers from the developer and go and get a legal due diligence done. It's not very expensive. When you're spending over 1 crore, it makes sense to spend a couple of thousands to get that the paper verification done. Once you've done the document verification, you're sure that all the documents are in order and the property is fine. So I think these are the two big things that you have to do, and it is good to do it.
All right, I want to bring in the lawyer at this point, because we do know that one of the strongest, weapons available to us as regular customers who normally feel left out or unable to understand what's going on is the RTI. Tell us how we can use the RTI when we're actually going through this process, or we're trying to find out what's actually going on legally.
I think the best weapon which a citizen of India has is the RTI, because you can get whatever information you want. Now, just understand how a building is constructed. First, you put up the plans for sanction to the planning authority, like municipality, and they give you IOD, intimation of disapproval. Now, those contain conditions which have to be fulfilled by the builder before you start construction. Okay? So, the second step is to get a commencement certificate. After the commencement certificate, you can start the construction. Sometimes it's given only up to plinth level. Suppose a building is of 40 stories, it's given up to 10th floor. So, in other words, that till 10th floor, everything is complied by him, and there's no problem. Therefore, RTI should help you to know whether a commencement certificate is given or not. Also, to know whether the plans have been sanctioned, IOD is given, how much of it he has fulfilled, what he has not fulfilled, so that you can discern whether I want to buy this flat or I don't want to buy the flat. But most important is a track record of the builder, because ultimately if the builder has a good track record, I'm sure he would not like to spoil his name, and he would like to give things within the perspective, within time frame, and legally constructed.
All right, so explain this to me as someone who's doing this for the absolute first time. What is the process of filing an RTI?
You just file an application. There are forms available. Go to the municipality, fill the forms, and file an RTI application. It's the most easiest thing to do. And within the time limit, the corporation has to give you whatever. Now, for example, as far as the flat is concerned, is the intimation of disapproval given? When was it given? Number one. Number two, are the conditions which are put by you before construction starts fulfilled by the developer? Number three, which is most important, is the commencement certificate given, where you can start the commencement of the building. Is it for the entire floor, or is it part commencement certificate? If it's for the entire building, then there's no problem. If it's part, then something else has to be complied with by him, and therefore that will affect the remaining portion of the building.
And it's also very important for me to make sure that the floor that I'm actually buying on is fully compliant.
Compliant, that's right.
What is the time limit before which the municipality has to respond to an RTI
Within 30 days,
application?
they'll have to give a response as far as the RTI application is concerned.
All right, so this might seem like extra paperwork for someone who's already doing a lot of paperwork when buying a home and applying for a home loan, but it does seem like useful paperwork to do. Go to the local municipality, file an RTI application to get the plans of the building that you're buying in and make sure that the floor that you're buying on is entirely compliant with all of the permissions that it needs.
May I interject and say that you could even go to the builder, so going through the process of RTI, ask the builder to give you this documents, very important, and ask him to give the originals, at least certified copy of the originals, so that you know that this is complied with. If he doesn't have, then you go to the municipality under RTI and get all those documents. That's
and of course, if you've done your job and gone to a builder of reputation who wants to keep his reputation intact, then this is the kind of builder who will be willing to give you certified documents. Jayashree, the other big question that we have to ask is locations. Again, when the team at Magicbricks Now did a search of the market to find out where the offers were, they noticed that they were in various pockets of various markets. The offers are not spread across all markets in terms of mid or high-end markets. They're sort of limited to certain pockets, both in neighborhoods and in price range. Tell us how to choose a locality, and tell us what what range of the market you think right now is moving the fastest.
Depending on the markets, between about 30 lakh and about 80 lakh, that is the sweetest spot in the market. If it is a smaller market or a lower priced market like maybe Hyderabad, you find that the 30 to 60 lakh is the sweetest spot in the market. But in other markets, I see that 40 to about 80 lakh, 40 to 60, 40 to 80 is the sweetest spot in the market. And anything that matches the consumer's requirement seems to move. But there is a rider here. If the locality is way out in the boondocks, it's very difficult to get out to, then the consumer is today saying, do I need to go for that, or should I come closer to town in a more convenient space? And because he has the option of negotiating. And all developers, in fact, on camera have said that if you come with a checkbook in hand, we are willing to negotiate. In fact, in the Bombay real estate dialogues that we had, developers clearly mentioned that in certain markets in Navi Mumbai and so on, if the consumer comes with a checkbook, they're willing to negotiate up to 20%. Now, look at it like this. Somebody is offering you a scheme in a way out location, and if you go to a location that is more convenient to you, the developer has expressed his intent to negotiate and give you a good deal. I would say that don't get, while offers are good, check out the offers, but also go with what is most convenient to you. Wherever you buy, you'll have to live there for the next 5 years, 10 years, whatever. And you must be sure that that is a place that is going to be convenient to you. You must have social infrastructure. You must have physical infrastructure. Transport access is important. Metro is a good link. Even a future metro link means that 5, 10 years down the line, it is going to ease your travel woes. The second thing is that there must be good quality water. Ask for this because there are many markets where water is a big issue. Where is the water coming from? It's good to know that the developer is making an effort or that the municipality is supplying the water. Electricity similarly. Electricity, most governments are trying to sort out these problems, but I would say it's good to know where the electricity supply is coming from. And these are some of the things that really go a long way. And after that, of course, the distance from commercial hubs, from schools, hospitals, entertainment centers and so on, so that you have a good quality lifestyle as well.
Also remember, a lot of experts will say social and physical infrastructure, hospitals, schools, malls, parks, recreational facilities, physical infrastructure, roads, metros, flyovers, things that make it easier to move in and out of that neighborhood. Jayashree, you did say make it something that's convenient for you because you're going to live there for the next 5 or 10 years. But if I'm looking purely at an investment at this point, I'm just looking to invest some money in this market, then obviously physical and social infrastructure is a must. But how should I pick the location then?
Look at something that has easy access from commercial centers or again the transport access, because remember, when you enter as an investor, you must have an exit plan. Let's assume that you have a 5 to 8 year time horizon and you want to exit after 5 or 8 years. The localities where you are most likely to find a buyer will be the ones that are closer to commercial centers or which are very easy and offer easy and comfortable living. If it has good rental potential, which which means that when you, even though you're an investor, you give away your property on lease till you are ready to sell, then what happens is that it's easier to sell a rented property rather than one which is difficult to lease out, because the new buyer may again be an investor and would like to hold it for a few years. So these are some of the things that you must look at: convenience of location, convenience of access, and access to social infrastructure is a must.
Right. Also, like we keep talking about, when you get in purely as an investor, and you're not looking for a home to live in, you're looking for a home to make money off, so you can flip it over and sell it in the next couple of years. You want to stay in that sweet spot market where there's most interest. Adhil, what you're looking at on the website right now, interest that people are showing in terms of ticket size, if we talk about the range of what the home loan is, where are you seeing the most interest, and can we read into that that's the bracket, or that's the market where we're seeing the most interest from buyers?
So what we're seeing online, right, is the average ticket size for a home loan is about 30 lakhs. People end up taking 20-year home loans. So that's the sweet spot that, that we've been seeing for the last few quarters. I think one interesting thing we're also seeing is that there are a lot of incentives today also for women to be either the primary applicant or the co-applicant. So you take any leading bank out there, and ICICI and SBI and HDFC, everyone offers 5 basis points discount if there's a woman who's part of the application. So we're definitely seeing a 30 lakh ticket. We're seeing more women borrowers come forward, and that's what's happening in the market now.
All right, so that's very interesting. The 30 lakh ticket roundabout, which means a home of close to 40 lakh rupees, that's the sweet spot really in all of the markets. And Joaquim, I want you to bring this out legally, just to make the process a little easier for all of our viewers. We talked about this in the break, the fact that at this point, customers should be looking for homes that are as close to possession as possible, if not ready to possess. Tell us what sort of a difference that will make to me in terms of paperwork, in terms of the legal checks that I need to do.
It's much better for you if the building is about to be constructed. See, let's face what's happening in Mumbai, for example. The industry is suffering because there are hardly any takers, and for that reason, for the first time in the history of Mumbai, about 1,200 builders had a protest march last week, and the architects not work for a day, which has never happened. The reason is that there's no movement in the market, and for that reason, I think today the builders are come with offers to make sure that people buy their flats, and their flats are available. If the building is ready for possession, it's easier for you. Then you have no issues at all, because you must see whether there's an occupation certificate granted by the municipality. If occupation certificate is granted, you are through. You take your flat, take possession, and you have nothing to worry. But there's no occupation certificate, then other clauses are required to be put over there. That's when will you give the possession, how long will you take. Most important, as I told you, you must say that occupation certificate comes, otherwise you cannot occupy the building.
All right. Remember, reputed bank or lender, reputed builder, make sure all of the permissions are in. It helps to make sure that the bank has done its background checks. So even if you don't need a home loan, take a home loan just to take advantage of that. The RTI is available to you, but if you're using a reputed builder, he should be able to give you all of the permissions right up. Jayashree told us how to pick a locality and how to invest in property. But I'm going to go, back to each of our panelists. One last round of questions to answer the question on our hashtag. Is this the right time to go out and buy property, especially if I'm an investor? Jayashree, you go first. Is this the right time to go out and buy property? Should I be using this festive season?
Absolutely. I don't think these rates will hold for too long. We've been saying this for a while, and there are markets where there has been a marginal inching up. There hasn't been much traction in the market, but the fence sitters need to buy now, because the home loan interest rates are definitely coming southward. The properties are coming to completion. The risks associated are much less. There are good interest rate subvention schemes where you can pay a little today and pay the rest on possession. There is also a case of when you buy, when the house is ready, you don't have to pay service tax and VAT, and therefore that reduces your the amount that you pay. Also, when you buy at possession, check that the locality is worth living in, it's ready to live in. If all these are there, I think this is probably the best time to buy. Another 3 to 4 months and you will see the prices inching up. You never know when markets have bottomed out. If people are waiting for prices to come down, you never really know the markets have bottomed out till the prices start rising again.
Adhil Shetty, same question. Given everything we're seeing in the market right now, for those people who come onto the website and do their research and then leave, is this the right time right now to take out those checkbooks and actually close those deals?
I think from the lending side, the answer is yes. There are festive interest rates out there. There are festive special processing fees out there. Because of what the RBI has done, there's no pre-closure fee on home loans these days. I think it's one of the best times we've been in the last few years as far as the credit outlook is. And I would say from the banking side, yes.
All right. And finally, Joaquim Reis, what would you recommend? Is this a good time?
I think it's a fantastic time. The reason is that the consumer is in a position to bargain for the price and get the best price. The builders want to sell, they have got it available, they want to sell it, and you're in a position, commanding position to say that very well, this much I'm prepared to give, bargain. If I'm going to invest, I will look for a building where there is a swimming pool, there's a beautiful gym, and a fantastic lobby, because that's what people will come. And parking spaces are very important, for at least 1 or 2 cars. 2 cars parking space is very important. Therefore, I think this is the right time to invest, provided you are in a position to bargain, and you make sure through an architect that the plans are sanctioned, and through a lawyer that all the terms are in your favor.
All right. We've come to the end of this, but it's unanimous that this is a buyer's market, and we haven't had we always wait for a buyer's market, especially in cities like Mumbai, Bangalore and NCR, where we can actually be in the driver's seat as buyers and demand what we want from builders. This is that time. It is a good time to buy if you find the right builder, the right location, the right price and the right product. Then you should go out and buy. Like we keep saying on this show, there are 3 things you need to have, 3 people you need to have on your side when you're buying property. You need to have a lawyer to check all of the papers. You need to have an architect to check the plans, and you need to have a financial advisor to check the home loan and your ability to service that loan. I want to thank all of our panelists for this very, very helpful discussion here on Magicbricks Now. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, #RightTimeToBuy. Get in touch with us. Thanks for watching.